Hello, hello.
December meeting of the Untitled Board Education to order and tell Wendy that we're all here. And Sean Kaufman is gonna introduce our flag people.
Well, I'm happy to introduce the Darrow boys, however you say your name. I call them Double Trouble. But we have Axel and Reed Doro. Axel's in first grade. He's in Miss Arnell's class. Come on up here, boys. Their parents are Aaron and Sydney Duro. Axel likes to play football, basketball, baseball, and riding four wheelers. He likes to hunt also with that. Right? Next one is Reed Doro. He's in fifth grade, Miss Frank's class. He likes to play football, baseball, hunting, fishing. He's a Go Card student, and he is a student council officer. Awesome. They go to Heritage.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Guys, hang out for just a second. We'll take a picture with you. Cool. Appreciate you guys being here tonight. Did a good job. Kind of stand right here and face that way.
Boys, just look right here.
Gorgeous.
Thank you guys.
Okay, we have one public to be heard. Chad Ellis.
My name's Chad Ellis. I live at 1223 Stiff Cross Mountain Road here in Tahlequah. And, I just wanted to come and say we appreciate you lifting the mask mandate. As parents, and this is one thing that I believe that we need to do as parents, as a school, as teachers, as community leaders in the city, as developers or business owners. I think it's very important that everybody that works together, because it matters who lives here, who develops here. It's tax driven, and I understand a little bit. I've worked out in the public. I've done some good and some not so good. But one thing I understand is how it all works, and we as parents, as stakeholders, we want the best for our kids, just like that we elect you guys to in best interest. But in my personal opinion, I think there's a major disconnect between just the communication. If some of the parents have an input, the reality is we don't know where to go. Okay, like who do we talk to? And I think it would save some time. But one thing I was going to speak on was this digital platform. Okay, and students' data. I'm from the country, but I understand this. This is my world. Okay, and I would really take this serious about who has access to this data. Okay, because where is it stored at? Where is the server stored at? Okay, because one of the biggest threats nationally is cybersecurity to companies and data leakage and traffic leakage. I mean, there's all types of things. But I was telling Tammy here, there's 12-year-olds nowadays selling NFTs, making $100 grand. Okay, and these tools are out there for kids to learn. If we live in a county has a poverty rate of 37%, and a 12-year-old kid at school can learn how to generate $1,000 to $1,500 extra income online, it's that simple. And, I have the ability, to be able to offer free hosting for a year, maybe even 2 years, where a student can host, free hosting for a website. They can learn how to start their own business. But these things are not just something that it's an idea, but I think that needs to be looked at. Where the data stores, who has access to it, okay? And what does it mean, right? Because these things are easily hackable. For example, okay, Tanya goes to a scanner, she's gonna scan a document. She puts the document in the scanner and she types in the email to where it goes, right? Well, most governments, most schools, most organizations, they don't operate in the .com for their email address, okay? So sometimes mistakenly, they type in the wrong, just one little stroke of a button, and your data could be clear across the world. I operate in this, and so I would, as a parent, as a stakeholder, take this, consider this, okay? But we're here to support you guys. We want the best for our community, and we want to work together, and there's platforms out there that, we do want to know what our kids are being taught. What you watch and what you see is what you become, and we want the best. We want the best for everybody. And I hope you guys consider that. We'll help you any way possible. And I know this bond issue is coming up, but, Mr. Leon, you had said something about it's not going to, cost the taxpayers any more, money, but, if it wasn't there, does it save them any on taxes or, there's some things that I think if there was a parent representative, and like I said, I know we elected you guys, okay? But still, a lot of the frustration to a lot of the parents is not knowing, okay? And just, we're here to help. And if there's anything that we can do to help, we don't have to be paid for it. We'll volunteer, we want to get involved and we want to work together. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Tigers Roar.
This evening, we have some grades. Another great season. Program. Great kids, great coach. We're very proud of them. I'll let him have the floor to do some bragging.
Thank you, Mr. Ashlock. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to brag on my kids. As Mr. Ashlock stated, another successful season on fast pitch softball, 5th consecutive trip to the state tournament. Finished the year with a record of 27-10, qualified for 5A state tournament, won our district, won our regional. I brought with me 3 seniors who were fortunate enough to be selected to the Class 5A and 6A Large East All-State team. It's a blessing as a coach to get one All-Stater. This year, our program was awarded 3 of them. There's only 18 of them selected for the east side of the state in those respective classes. So I brought with me our shortstop, Lexi Hanna, my first baseman, Haley Enlow, and our center fielder, Rhea Allen. So they will represent Tahquah Public Schools on the month of June at Oklahoma Christian University in the Oklahoma Fast Pitch Coaches Association All-State game. Very, very proud. Been doing this a long time, and this is only the second time I've ever had three All-Staters in 1 year. So I feel very fortunate, but it's a testament to these ladies' ability and their work ethic. In addition to these 3 ladies and their awards, for the all 5A4 All District team, Lexi was the Player of the Year in that respective district. Haley was the Defensive Player of the Year. Mia was awarded First Team Outfield. And then we had our junior pitcher, Mike Van, Was selected to the 5A4 All-District team. Our sophomore catcher, Jaden Buttrey, was selected to the first team. Third baseman, J.D. Ray. And our second baseman, Charlie Cochran, was selected as the utility player. And then we had four other players receive mention for the all-district team. So we had seven players selected to the all-district team. That's a first for me as a coach. And it's just a testament to the quality of kids that we have here. Their ability to show up and go to work every day. I think one thing these kids will testify to is just kind of a rule that we live by. We just show up every day and put your work clothes on, you go to work, typically good things happen. So we'd also like to thank you, Mr. Ashlock, for the improvements that are being made at the softball field, the dressing rooms. I know these ladies are looking forward to getting there. We appreciate all the support you give us. Thank you very much.
Don't forget another Coach of the Year trophy for Coach Ray as well. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Coach Ray. Appreciate you.
Okay, item D, discussion of vote to approve or not approve appointing Karen Arnell as the TPS Board of Education Deputies Minutes Clerk. Have a second? Second. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Nemo?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Walker? Item E, discussion of vote to approve or not approve the minutes for previous meetings.
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Mrs. Nemo?
Aye.
Item F, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the monthly financial report.
First thing I was gonna tell you guys, the little gifts that you guys have wrapped in the paper, those were made by the high school PTA for you guys, for Christmas ornaments for your guys'
They're
trees.
cool.
So we hope that you enjoy those, and that's just kind of a little gift from us, from everyone at the board. Our general fund balance at the end of November was $6,115,474.96. You can find that balance on page 2. The receipts for the month of November, the general fund was $2,904,701.04. You can find that on page 5. Building fund was $1,644. You can find that number on page 6. Sinking fund was $7,543.16. That can be found on page 8. Bank balances for the end of November in the general fund, we had $5,349,202.31. Building fund was $87,884.11. Sinking fund was $224,445.84. Our activity fund at the end of November had $1,056,100.61. And that was it. Do you guys have any questions about any of that?
I think just to clarify on our building fund balance, 587,000.
Yes, what did I say?
I think you
I
said
did.
87.
Yes.
Okay.
$587,884.11.
Thank you, yes.
A highlight on there is all.
Well, I was trying to see if it was a 5 or a
Yes,
sign.
it is. Yeah. You guys have any more questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, child nutrition made it through the free and reduced season finally. I've provided you with a copy of the finalized free and reduced percentages for the year. The copy behind it is last year's, just for reference. We're required to report our numbers based off the free and reduced applications to the state every year as of October 31st. And those numbers are used to complete what's called the low income report every November. The free and reduced application numbers generate Title I federal funding and state aid funding for the entire district. As you can tell, our free and reduced eligible student numbers are down from last year. But as it's been stated in the past, that's a good problem to have. It's a problem, but it's good. So one thing we're looking forward to in child nutrition, some exciting things are going to happen. And after the first of the year, we're going to be designing and preparing to open what's called the Tiger Den in the Southwell High School cafeteria. This was in the planning stages before COVID hit and it had to be put on hold. But it's going to be what's called a C-store, a little convenience store for our high school kids. Pretty excited about that. We'll offer a la carte items and we'll offer a reimbursable meal out of that area as well. So anyway, pretty excited about that. Been talking to the high school kids, they're excited about that. So we'll keep you posted on that. One other thing I wanted to tell you, some really good news. We had a major review last month in the month of October or November. One of the many major reviews that our program is scrutinized over. This one was an in-depth review of the child nutrition procurement practices. And I'm super excited to say that we passed with 0 findings. We'll have another big review coming up sometime in the spring, an unannounced review. We anticipate on passing that one as well. So are there any questions?
Yeah, I do, Dana. Who is handling our food service now?
Sodexo.
So it's still
We partner with Sodexo.
I have a student now in the high school, and he, in preparing for the second semester, made some changes in his curriculum, class schedule, and it moved him from lunch 1 to lunch 2. He said, that's fine. So I was just afraid about getting into lunch 3. And I said, why is that? And he says, well, because he has a lot of friends that tell him that they run out of food in the third lunch, particularly if they are at the back of the line going through.
Well,
you know anything about
that's
it?
a little bit true and a little bit false. They don't run out of food. They run out of some items, but there's always food for them to have. They've never completely ran out of food. But yes, that was an issue that we have been working really hard to try to curb that. I don't think everybody knows, but it's a guessing game. It's a guessing game on when you have so many options, you have to guess, okay, what are the kids gonna like today? And all you have to go off of is previously, on this day, when we had this, how much of it did they eat? So it's a guessing game, and we are definitely not perfect. And we have ran out, sometimes we run out of pizza, sometimes we run out of spicy chicken. But I can assure you, we have never completely ran out of food.
Well, I don't think that he meant that he ran out of food, but, and I acknowledge the fact that he is a picky eater. But when some of the staples that the kids like chicken and pizza, and you run out of those, that is I think, a problem. And I just wanted to make sure that, and obviously you're aware of that and you're addressing that,
Yes,
and I appreciate
absolutely.
that as well. But I'd like you to keep me informed,
Okay.
if you would, as that goes on through, as the changes are made or whatever.
Okay. Not a problem. Any other questions? We rock and roll. Thank you,
All right.
and Merry Christmas, everybody.
To approve the monthly financials.
For a second. Second. Any discussion? Mrs. Zemo?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Walker? And I, Wendy, on everything. I don't think I've said that yet. Sorry. Superintendent's report.
All right, 2 items here. First, is just COVID update for the month. Our numbers from the last board meeting, we have 6 total positives. 5 of those being students, 1 of those being staff. So our numbers continue to trend downward at school and also in the county. School basically mirrors the county. Doing well the last several months. So that's kind of where we stand right now. I did put out a public notice today to all our staff, letting them know in January, the mandate part of the policy is removed. And basically, we got to the point where there was something coming out, not having them on anyway. One of those things to fight about at that point. And even though it's not there, we still encourage everybody who wants to wear a mask. If they wore one all this semester, they're more than welcome to encourage them to do that next semester as well. As of right now, the numbers where they are, kind of limited capability to enforce a mandate. I hadn't made that decision to put that out there. So starting January 3rd, when we return from Christmas break, that will kind of be the new guidelines, optional masking for everybody going forward. One update, we do have a board seat open. Filing period had closed. We have 3 individuals who have filed for that open seat. Stephen Crawford, Clark Frank, and Joseph Rainwater. There is one caveat. There is a protest hearing scheduled tomorrow, I believe. Protest Mr. Rainwater as far as that address. Again, the school plays no role in that. That's as far as that goes. But that hearing will decide whether or not he is eligible to run. So at the least, we have 2 individuals running for that seat and possibly 3. If there are 3, the primary will be on February the 8th. Election. If it's only 2, then the general election will be on April 5th. The timeline as far as that goes. The winning candidate will be seated at the April 12th board meeting. That will go a week or so after that, be seated at the board. And then also, if everybody can kind of put on their calendars, we would like to, at the March board meeting prior, we'd like to have a little reception for Mr. Myers. Just thank him for his years of service, Board of Education. Appreciate him and we'll miss him. So we'll probably start that off around 5 o'clock before the meeting. That's okay, everything like that, just to honor you and tell you thank you. That is it. The vote will be on February 8th.
Out of the 3, it will be the school board seat and the bond issue, and both of those are everyone who live in the school district. That's correct.
Okay, item H, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the following surplus.
I move to approve.
A second, any discussion? Ms. Walker? Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Zemo?
Aye.
And I. Business items, consent docket vote to approve or not to approve the following. Item I.
Approve items I1 and 2.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Zemo?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
And I. J, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the open transfer application.
Motion on the explanation.
I move to approve.
this item here, the next two items will be over the new state required transfer policy. This first one, it's really not an option. We didn't create this. This is the state transfer form that we're required to use. So we don't really have a choice not to approve it, but at the same time, we still have to adopt it as the form that we're using. And you do have a copy of that within your packet. It's very simple. County name, district name, student name, birth date, grade level, things like that. And it's really simple. It'll be online for parents to fill out when it comes to transfers. The next item, we'll talk about the policy, but this item is just approving the actual policy.
So I have a motion and a second for item J. Any discussion? Mrs. Nemo?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Walker? And I. Item K, discussion and vote to approve or not approve revised transfer policy number 6025.
Move to approve.
A second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Are you gonna talk again? Okay.
Again, this is the same policy that we had last month on the first read. Nothing's changed from that time. Again, just kind of a refresher, the state has required this of all districts. It has to be approved in January, by January. It has to be live on our website, ready to accept transfer applications. It will be. Everybody's done a great job getting that prepared here in the district. And you do have just to kind of show you what it will look like if it started today and what it will look like in January. This document here, color code with the numbers in there. It'll just kind of show you how it will be listed. It will show the capacity at each site, each grade level. It will show the number that's actually enrolled, and then it will also show a status for anybody who's seen that. So it'll be very simple to look at. So if I'm wanting to transfer in a Cherokee on 4th grade, I can look and I see that we're at capacity. So we won't be accepting transfer this at that time. Now they can still apply, and then they're on a wait list from that point going forward because spots do come open and somebody can move out, whatever the case may be. So we may have a 0 capacity on Monday of this week, and by next week we may have capacity for 2. So this will be updated in real time on the website as people come and go. Then as you can see, like on Cherokee 1st grade, we currently have 5 spots open for that. So if somebody was interested in transferring, look and see that there are spots in that capacity, and then we take those applications as they come in.
How do we get to the point where we have more actually enrolled than what it says capacity? Will that happen under the new?
Well, because yes, it still can, because this is just transfer students. It doesn't count the students who live in our district. So we can control the number of transfers, but if tomorrow we have 40 students move into the district, they have the right to attend Howell. It doesn't matter.
So when it says Cherokee 3rd grade, its capacity is 54 and we have 70, it's because, but we're not over because.
We're over our transfer.
We're over the transfer. You are over the transfer.
Because we can't take it. That's just saying that's the most that we could hold on transfers.
But not all of those 70 are transfers. Is
No.
what you're saying, yeah, okay. No.
This is all of our students.
That's also that example, because not only are we full, we're over capacity. So if a student leaves the district there, it doesn't open a transfer spot until we get down to our lower actual capacity. And these numbers, these are all current students. So these include transfers that we already have that will be automatically granted.
This is everybody on roll.
Those who are currently on transfer here, they do not reapply and they're automatically accepted next year, correct? If they.
Say that again.
They don't have to reapply, but if they will be reviewed, and if they have any discipline issues that would fit the law or attendance issues that would fit the law, they could be
Can be
reconsidered.
denied.
But if not, if their attendance was good, their discipline was good, and we're at and we have the capacity to continue, then.
They do have to reapply?
No, they
Okay,
do not
They just have to enroll.
reapply,
Or
They
they
just
have to
pre-enroll
re-enroll
like
next
normal.
year. Okay.
but not apply.
Have to maintain their end report.
Right.
Or the transfer rules. And again, like I mentioned, the numbers on our transfer capacity are going to change. These numbers won't be the same next year because, as you can see, when one grade level moves up, the number can drastically change and the number can go down. So I think we're allowed to change this 4 times a year, but I think at a minimum, in the summer, every July, we're going to have to revisit this, look at our enrollment numbers, look at how people have moved up and moved back, and then we'll have to adjust that. You know, it'll be a living document every year from now on, I have no doubt. It's gonna have to have a lot of adjustment, because it's an imperfect science to try to figure out how many second graders we're gonna have next year. So that's just something we're just gonna have to work and adjust as we go through.
Any other discussion? A motion and a second. Ms. Walker? Ms. Kaufman? Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
And I. Item L, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the schedule of encumbrances.
Move to approve.
Any discussion? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
And I. Item N, motion and vote to approve or not approve personnel items M1 through M2.
To approve items M1 and M2, and under employment, Kelsey Arnell, Greenwood Special Care Era, and Jessica Goodman, Cherokee EL teacher.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
And I. We have 3 items under new business.
We do, go down through, we'll do one at a time. The first one is a purchase order. We didn't make it on the agenda in time. It's PO number 957. From the Visual Force Incorporated. These are the lighting systems on the new SRO vehicle. The amount for that PO is attached to the back of the paper that you have, $18,073.29. That PO first, that for each item.
Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Do you have a second? Any discussion? Those vehicles, we got them today.
Picked them up today, Mr. Underwood, and some people drove to Guthrie, Oklahoma, and picked us up, so he spent a lot of time in the seat today.
Does Marcus get a new one?
He's on the list.
Did Mr. Underwood turn the lights on?
Yes.
Sorry.
And how, just for an FYI, the vehicles, we're getting 3 now, and we're trying to replace some more to the bond. That, but basically it's gonna be seniority, that's how they're giving out who's working the district office as far as this are.
Any more discussion? Mrs. Nemo?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
And I.
Okay, the second one, we have an employment addition. We need to vote to approve the employment of Brandon Bahara. He will be an assistant band instructor. That will be effective next semester, January 3rd, 2022, on a temporary 1-year contract. Just didn't have any time for the agenda. He will be filling an open position, current instructor.
Do you have a motion?
I'll move.
Go ahead, Mr. Myers.
Yeah, I move to approve.
Okay. Second? Okay, any discussion? Ms. Walker? Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
And I.
Okay, the final item has to do with perfect attendance stipend for staff. We, dating back to last year, we removed the negotiated perfect attendance stipend for support certified. And the thought behind that was just with the pandemic in place, we really didn't want to encourage people to come to work sick. Feel a little bad, you know, keep coming to work. So we did that with that in mind, with the numbers improving and also with the difficulty of getting subs and having to have teachers cover and doing things like that. So we've been trying to find different ways to help improve those numbers, get those covered. So what we're going to look to do, and I'll just kind of read this as I have it written. Vote to approve or not approve the following modification to the TEA and TESCO perfect attendance stipends. Staff members who meet the previous negotiated criteria for perfect attendance will receive $100 each month for remaining contract months starting in January 2022. This agreement will only be in effect for the rest of the 21-22 school year. Continuation or changes will be discussed during summer negotiations. We met with TEA and TESCO and kind of threw out some different ideas as to how the best way to go about incentivizing this. You know, we had a current current way was, I think there was two pay periods in each semester. If you fell within those 2 dates, you just didn't miss a day, then you got that payout. I believe for the certified, it was 125. For the first, it was January 6th through March 31st. And the second was April 1st to the end of the school year, and it was $225. So basically what we've done, we've added about $250 to the total of what a teacher can be paid on service in the stipend.
Per month?
Yes, it'll be paid out per month. So that way, I mean, if you missed a day 1 month, it doesn't, the next month you can try again. So
Yeah.
that was kind of the thought behind it as far as what the teachers decided they were supposed to do that. So this will be only for the remainder of the school year. And our agreement with TA and TESCO was this is not a negotiated item. This is kind of a trial run for 1 semester. And when we sit down for negotiations this summer, we'll just kind of look and see, did it improve attendance? Did it help? How much was paid out? And we'll just kind of decide at that time if it's something we want to continue as is, if it's something we want to modify, do we go back to the old way? We'll just kind of see. We're just trying to find new ways to help keep teachers in the classroom, keep them in front of kiddos. And we may pay out a little bit of money, which obviously we have that behind it, but every time a teacher misses, we also have to pay out money for subs and covering classes. So our hope is that keep those teachers in class and incentivize that just a little bit. So that was the thought for this, and I have it on new business, just I didn't get on the agenda in time, and I wanted to be able to tell the teachers about it before we went into Christmas break. So that's that item there.
Do you have a motion?
I move to approve the attendance stipend.
Second. Discussion.
I just have a question. Is it straight, if you're absent, you don't have attendance, or are there some exceptions for pre-approved or?
There are no, I mean, you have to work. The only exception is if it's a
School.
district sponsor.
You're on track.
Yeah, if we send you to a training, that doesn't count against you.
Yeah, I want to talk about this. I have a philosophical problem with the idea of rewarding or paying people to do the job they were hired to do. They signed a contract to teach. And that means let's see, how was it? Coach Ray said, show up every day. I expect that the teachers should show up every day. And they shouldn't have to be paid extra or rewarded extra for doing something that is their responsibility to do. Because I have a student now in school here, I hear about things that I wouldn't necessarily hear. Of teachers who give extra credit points if the students show up in their classes.
And it's not on the agenda.
It's part of what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that. It is a derivative of what is going on. If we start rewarding our teachers for doing what they're responsible to do or extra, then that same thing filters down to the teachers rewarding their students for doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I don't believe that's right. And I understand, and after being on the board for almost 5 years, I'm still learning a lot about what's going on here. In the schools. I understand that we've had this incentivized type of thing for a long time. I wasn't aware of that. If you're working at Walmart, you're expected to be there every day. And if you're there every day, they don't pay you extra. If you're not there every day and you start missing a lot, they fire you. And that's true at any type of thing outside academia. Now, I understand that we have 12 days of sick leave, which is a lot of sick leave. And do we have personal leave days as well? We also have personal, that's 15 days. Now, if teachers are missing that many days, if they're missing that many days, I just don't understand why you need to incentivize them to come. They are, let me finish. That's their responsibility. It also is, it seems to me to be not quite fair for those teachers who are responsible and are here every day and doing their job every day without being given extra money, because they know that's their responsibility. And so to give extra money or give money just to get them to come to work, I have trouble with that. So.
The reason I asked the question, I want to clarify, they have contractual sick and vacation days. And if they use one, they don't get this. So this is to incentivize them to not use the 15 days a year that they're allowed and expected to use. So I don't think it's that it's rewarding them for doing their job. It's rewarding them for every teacher in this district could choose to take their 15 days a year, and those are 15 days for every teacher that we would have to have coverage. And this is saying, you know, maybe you don't feel great today and you would take a sick day, but you know that if you come to work today, you're going to get an extra $100 this month. And you know, is it going to work? We'll see, right? We'll see if that happens. But and I don't think it's true. I think there are a lot of places that reward people either by purchasing back their leave if they don't use it, or some other if they don't, because most people get some amount of sick or vacation leave, and there often are incentives that if you come to work, instead of using the leave that you're entitled to, we're going to give you something extra. So I think this is a kind of state, not both in business and in government, to be able to turn in leave or to provide some extra incentive for those folks that have good attendance. I think it's helpful. And I think, again, you know, if they have 13 days a year and someone wakes up with a headache and they know that if they power through that and take a Tylenol and go to work that day, that they're going to get a little extra money, and may encourage them to come to work.
Mr. Pack, would you like to say anything?
It's probably best that I don't, but I greatly appreciate what you said, Mr.
It's Ed, I'm gonna say this. This COVID has been horrid. It is a nightmare. It was a nightmare when I had to put all my classes online. And I had a campaigns class that had campaigns scheduled, they couldn't do it. And I had to come up with a new way to assess it. I'd have stayed home the rest of the semester. I mean, I wasn't out. I think it's really done things to people that if it hadn't happened, you'd still be bumping the roads, but I've never heard the words mental health. I've got to take a mental health day from students at Northeastern. They just can't cope. And I've heard from teachers who spend all their planning time covering somebody else's class. They have no time to do what they need to do for their classes because they're all scrambling to help cover. Plus, we're going to pay $90 for a certified sub and $80 for a non-certified. So yeah, per day. And so they get $100 at the end of the month. I don't know. It's been different. And I know people are taking a lot of absences.
Well, you know, I agree with a great deal of what you say, Ed. We can look back, both of us, to the olden days when people came to work because it was honorable to do. And you didn't miss, but these have been extraordinary circumstances, and we have to make adjustments, I feel like, to account for that. And the primary issue is the burden that it has put on the other teachers, if being taken out of their plan periods. Having done that, have to do that, and you have, 5 times you can be asked, that's very difficult. That's extraordinary strength. Yes, it would be nice if people thought, I don't want to miss today because I don't want to hamper my colleagues and their daily routine, but that often doesn't happen. And I'm gonna sound like an old person, but I, oftentimes when you have first-year teachers, there's a great deal of stress on them anyway, just trying to handle the classroom. And over the years, I had a number of first-year teachers in the English department that would have trouble showing up. To the extent I remember going in one morning to try to scramble and put together what we weren't even notified this person wasn't coming. And they had blocked out on their desk school calendar, Colorado ski trip. So it takes a few years sometimes for these younger groups to come in and adjust to the reality of the work world. But my main reason for supporting this, the primary reason, is to reward those who do show up and to not put that added burden on those teachers who regularly show up and then they have to cover it. You're right, it's not right, but there are things that aren't.
And again, like I said, this is not new. We've had a perfect attendance stipend in place before I was here, part of negotiated agreement and all. I've been an administrator in 2 other school districts, and both districts had similar perfect attendance policy. That's kind of part of the course of what school districts offer for some extra compensation.
And the state does at the end when you retire, you get paid for those days that you have. That you have been there, those sick days that you have accrued.
Any other discussion? I have a motion and a second, don't I? Okay. All right, Ms. Walker,
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman.
Aye.
Mr. Myers.
No.
Mrs. Nemo.
Aye.
And I. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Anyone want to pass out some holiday recipes or something? All right, Ms. Nemo. Aye. Mr. Myers. Ms. Kaufman. Aye. Ms. Walker.
Aye.
And I.